everyone, Costume Teacher here, and I'm here today to read to you Chapter 16 of Mr. Popper's Penguins, which is called On the Road. On the road again. Couldn't resist. I mean, they left it right there. Come on, teachers. I know you were about to do the same thing, or maybe you did it right with me. Okay. Oh, and fun fact, I got a manicure. I got some cute little penguins. Commit to the character. All right. There are some vocabulary words I want to make sure you are all familiar with as we read the chapter. And those words are annoyed. Can everyone say annoyed? Annoyed means to be irritated or bothered. I don't think any of us have ever felt that way before, though. So that's definitely a new word, right? Annoyed. No comment. All right. Our next word is temptation. Can everyone say temptation? That means something that you really want, but you probably shouldn't do. Okay, so our examples are junk food and a penguin going up a ladder. Remember, in the last chapter, they mentioned they really like to do that. So they can go tobogganing down the other side. All right, so things that are bad for you to eat and things that are dangerous. Those are our examples. Well, to each their own. Our next word is novelty. Can everyone say novelty? Novelty means new, unique, or never seen before. So we've got some fun toys and such. Wait a minute. Are those are Rugrats. Is that new to some of you? Whew, get with the program. All right, moving on. And our last word is ecstatic. Can everyone say ecstatic? That means to be incredibly happy. Look, the example is Buddy the Elf. Hey, we know him. He is probably the best example of someone being incredibly happy. All right. If you're following along with a copy of the book, this starts on page 107. If not, just be ecstatic about my read aloud and follow along with me. All right, on the road. During the next day, there was much to be done at 432 Proudfoot Avenue. There were new clothes to buy for all of them, and the old ones to pack away in mothballs. Oh, so glad we don't do that anymore. Then Mrs. Popper had to scrub and polish and straighten the whole place, for she was much too good a housekeeper to leave everything at 6s and 7s while the Poppers were away. I relate to that a little bit, though. Like when you want to have the house clean when you come home because you have so much other things to clean after a trip. Mr. Greenbaum sent them their first week's pay in advance. The first thing they did was to pay off the man who had installed the freezing plant in the basement. He had been getting rather uneasy about his money. And after all, without him, they could have never trained the penguins. Next, they sent a check to the company who had been shipping the fresh fish all the way from the coast. At last, everything was done, and Mr. Popper turned the key in the door of the little house. They were a little late in arriving at the railway station on account of the argument with the traffic policeman. The argument was on account of the accident with the 2 taxicabs. With 4 Poppers and 12 penguins, Not to mention the 8 suitcases and pail of water with the live fish for the penguins' lunch, Mr. Popper found that they could not all fit into one cab. So he had to call a second one. Oh, good. Each of the taxi drivers was eager to be the first to get to the station and surprise the people there by opening the door of his cab and letting out 6 penguins. I'm sure they're all really excited to have penguins in their car, too. So they raced each other all the way, and in the last block, they tried to pass each other, and one of the fenders got torn off. Ooh, uh-oh. It's like Fast and the Furious Penguin Edition. The traffic officer naturally got very much annoyed. The train was about to pull out of the station when they arrived. Even with both taxi drivers helping them through the gate and over the brass rails onto the rear observation platform, they barely made it. The penguins were gasping. It had been decided that Mr. Popper should ride in the baggage car with the penguins to keep them from getting nervous, while Mrs. Popper and the children should ride in one of the Pullmans. Because of getting on at the observation end of the train, Mr. Popper had to take the birds through the whole length of the train. It was easy enough to get them through the club car, even with the pail of fish to carry. In the sleeping cars, however, where the porter was already making up some of the berths, there was trouble. The porter's ladders offered too much temptation to the penguins. There were a dozen happy orcs from a dozen happy, ecstatic beaks. Popper's performing penguins, completely forgetting their discipline, again, fought to climb the ladders and get into the upper berths. Poor Mr. Popper. One old lady screamed that she was going to get off the train, whether it was going 90 miles an hour or not. A gentleman wearing a clergyman's collar suggested opening a window so the penguins could jump out. 2 porters tried to shoo the birds out of the berths. Finally, the conductor and the brakeman with the lantern came to the rescue. It was quite a while before Mr. Popper got his pets safely to the baggage car. Mrs. Popper worried a little at the start over the idea of having Janie and Bill miss 10 weeks of school while they were on the road, though the children didn't seem to mind. Wait a minute. You guys would miss us if you went on a trip for 10 weeks. Don't lie. That's the truth. We'd miss you too. And you must remember, my love, said Mr. Popper, who had never before been out of Stillwater, in spite of his dreams of distant countries, that travel is very broadening. That's true, but that's still a long time to miss school. Am I right? There's a picture of them on the train. Oh! I think what they mean is with the berths is that there's 2 levels. I don't know if any of you have ever been on a train before where there's like an upper level and a lower level. Guessing that's what that means. From the start, the penguins were a riotous success. Even their opening performance in Seattle went off without a hitch, probably because they had already rehearsed on a real stage. It was here that the penguins added a little novelty number of their own to the program. They were the first thing on the bill. When they finished their regular act, the audience went wild. They mean playbill, like the order of the program, so that they were first up. They clapped and stamped and roared for more of Popper's performing penguins. Janie and Bill helped their father herd the penguins off the stage so the next act could go on. This next act was a tightrope walker named Monsieur Duval. The trouble was that instead of watching him from the wings, that means like off stage, as they should have done, the penguins got interested and walked out on the stage again to watch him more closely. Unfortunately, at this moment, Monsieur Duval was doing a very difficult dance on the wire overhead. There's a picture of that. The audience, of course, had thought that the penguins were all through and were very much pleased to see them return and line up with their backs to the audience and look up at Monsieur Duval, dancing so carefully on the on the wire high above them. This made everyone laugh so hard that Monsieur Duval lost his balance. Ooh! Ark! Said the penguins, waddling away hurriedly in order to not be under him when he fell. Wow! So they caused him to fall, and then they're like, bye, I don't want to get squished. Rude. Cleverly recovering his balance, Monsieur Duval caught the wire by the inside of his elbow and saved himself. Whew. He was very angry when he saw the proper-performing penguins opening wide their 12 red beaks as if they were laughing at him. Go away, you stupid things, he said to them in French. Orc? Said the penguins, pretending not to understand and making remarks to each other in penguin language about Monsieur Duval. Maybe they shouldn't be so judgy. The guy almost fell. And whenever they appeared, the more they interfered with the other acts on the program, and the better the audiences liked them. Uh-oh. So everyone thinks they're funny, but they're causing a little trouble along the way. Shocker. All right. Well, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day and that you're feeling ecstatic and not more ecstatic and less annoyed. All right. I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.